Hi, I'm Rob with Alta Tax Relief. There's many myths going on out there in regards to the IRS. Many people base a lot of assumptions on the IRS on what they find on the internet or what they hear from somebody else. The one thing you have to realize about the IRS is that they're very stringent in terms of policies and procedures, and that's really what everything is based on. The other thing that a lot of things are based on is documentation and you proving numbers, whether numbers that are on your tax return for an audit or numbers on a collection information statement when you're trying to deal with IRS collections. A lot of times, people will tell me, well, I know a guy that got this deal. I want the same thing. You have to realize that when you're dealing with the IRS, everything is about your unique situation. One man's $100,000 tax debt is not the same as another's. It's all based upon your current financial situation. But there are some certain myths that I want you to dispel. First of all, the IRS is not going to go and seize your home or vehicle right after they go and assess taxes on you. There is a very lengthy process where they send out letters where they're trying to get you to contact them to try to find some type of resolution, whether it's filing an offer, doing a payment agreement, or getting placed into hardship status. Actual seizures are done by revenue officers and can take months to get approved. When you're looking at a house seizure, even a federal judge has to get involved. For vehicle seizures, there's a lot of paperwork and a lot of logistics that the IRS has to deal with. The IRS revenue officer has to find a location to tow the vehicle. They have to arrange for the auction of the vehicle. And even before they do all that, they have to give you 10 days notice that they're going to come and take your car. All these delays really give you an ability to find a different resolution than the actual seizure. If you're ever being audited by the IRS, one of the biggest things that you have to realize is that your documentation is going to be the biggest factor in how that audit goes. If you've listed a bunch of expenses on your tax return, you have to have the receipts to back up those expenses. Only then can you even argue if those expenses are deductible. So it always behooves you to make sure that you are saving all of your receipts. Another thing that you have to realize about the IRS is those people that you talk to on the phone work for the US government. They don't work for you. Their job is to try to mitigate the circumstances and to really find a solution very quickly that favors the IRS. If you're trying to sign up a payment agreement, they're probably going to push you into something that might be unaffordable just for the fact that it's going to pay it off sooner. Please realize that those people aren't there to argue on your behalf. They're there to argue on the government's behalf. Another thing that people think is that they could just call up and the IRS and immediately get an offer to settle their tax debt. I find that situations many times where people are trying to sell their home and they have a tax lien on them and they're trying to reduce what is owed. In reality, an IRS offer is a lot of paperwork, and frankly, it's a very lengthy process. Most offers take about 1 to 2 years for the IRS to even review them, to accept them, for you to pay them, and then for them to get the taxes removed from your tax account and the tax liens discharged. Another thing that people feel is that not filing your tax returns is a good situation if you're going to owe money. That couldn't be further from the truth. When you owe money on a tax return, you need to file that tax return on time to reduce the failure to file penalties. The longer you take to file a tax return, the longer the IRS is going to have to collect from you. The IRS has a 10-year collection statute that doesn't even begin until they actually assess the tax. It's not even when you file the tax return. If you mail in a tax return and it takes the IRS 5 months to process it, that 10-year collection period begins at that 5 month mark after they have actually gone and assessed the tax, not when you've gone and filed the tax return. When it comes to IRS penalty abatement, many people think the IRS will forgive penalties and possibly interest no problem. The IRS rarely forgives interest, and penalties are only abated on a reasonable cause basis. Reasonable cause is usually extraordinary circumstance. You had extreme medical issues, you had a natural disaster, something extraordinary happened to prevent you from filing and paying. You have to realize, though, that once those extraordinary circumstances end and you get better and the natural disaster is over, you really have no excuse at that point for not at least filing your tax returns and then to figure out a solution to get it paid. At Alta Tax Relief, our former IRS experience will protect your rights and find you the best options possible for your IRS tax debt. If you're dealing with an audit, we'll protect your rights and try to negotiate the lowest possible amount of tax based upon the documentation that you can provide. Please visit our website for more information and to schedule your free 30-minute consultation. That 30 minutes might be very, very knowledgeable for you and really change your course of action with the IRS. Our consultations are no obligation and they are always confidential. Don't go up against the IRS alone. Call Alta Tax Relief today.